Welcome, everyone, to Chapters Unfolded. If you've been with us before, this is the place to be. If you're looking to unlock the power of self-development one chapter at a time, we really dig deep into impactful books, peeling back the layers and revealing those core principles that can genuinely help you grow and evolve. It's not about those flashy quick fixes or, fleeting bursts of motivation. It's about understanding the fundamentals of lasting change, the stuff that really sticks. So if you're ready to embark on a journey of self-improvement, hit that subscribe button and, share this with anyone who's ready to join the adventure. And today marks a pretty significant point in our exploration.
Yeah, we've reached the culmination of our deep dive into atomic habits. We've spent quite a bit of time together, you and I, navigating the intricacies of building good habits and breaking bad ones, all guided by the author's 4 laws of behavior change, right?
Exactly. Those 4 laws have been our compass throughout this whole journey. But as we stand here at the final chapter, there's a big question looming. What's the ultimate takeaway from all of this? What's the secret sauce that ensures these hard-earned changes actually become a part of who we are?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're going to uncover in this final installment of our Atomic Habits deep dive. You've put in the work to understand these principles, and now we're going to connect those final pieces of the puzzle.
So today our mission, should you choose to accept it, and you're already here, so for What's Secret Me About, is to uncover the core philosophy for achieving results that endure. We're going straight to the source, the author's concluding thoughts, to distill the essence of lasting change into actionable insights for you.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The author kicks off the conclusion with this really thought-provoking concept called the Sorite's paradox.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Have you ever heard of this before?
I have. It's a classic philosophical puzzle, and it's so relevant to the idea of habit formation.
I know, right? It's like he plucked it straight from a philosophy textbook and dropped it right into a self-help book.
It's brilliant, really. So the paradox asks this question: can a single grain of sand create a heap?
Okay, so 1 grain of sand, obviously not a heap.
Right, exactly. But then if you keep adding grains one by one, at what point does it become a heap?
That's the paradox, right? It's like this fuzzy line where you can't pinpoint the exact moment when it transforms from a few scattered grains into a full-fledged heap.
Precisely. And the author uses this analogy to illustrate the often subtle nature of habit formation.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here.
Good.
It's like those small, almost imperceptible changes we make day after day. They might not seem like much in isolation, but over time they accumulate and lead to significant shifts.
Exactly. It's not about making one giant leap. It's about those incremental 1% improvements that compound over time.
So it's like with our habits. One tiny improvement might not feel transformative on its own.
Right. Just like that 1 grain of sand, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference.
But what happens when we string those tiny improvements together, day after day, week after week?
Oh, that's where the magic happens. That's when we start to see real lasting change.
So it's not about finding that one magic bullet solution.
No, not at all. It's about embracing the process of continuous improvement.
And trusting that those small changes will eventually add up to something significant.
Absolutely.
You know what I think is really interesting about this whole concept?
What's that?
It's that the author acknowledges how frustrating those early stages of habit formation can be.
Oh, absolutely. You're putting in the effort, you're making those small changes, but you're not seeing any tangible results yet.
Exactly. It's like you're stuck in this in-between zone where you've started the journey, but you haven't quite reached the destination.
And that can be really discouraging. It's easy to feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Especially when you compare yourself to those overnight success stories you see everywhere.
Well, I know, right? It's all over social media.
It's like everyone else is effortlessly achieving their goals, while you're still slogging away in obscurity.
But the truth is, those overnight successes are rare. Most real lasting change happens gradually over time.
And it often involves a lot of unseen effort.
Exactly.
So the key takeaway here for me is patience and trusting the process.
I completely agree. It's about recognizing that those small, seemingly insignificant actions you're taking today are laying the foundation for something much bigger.
I love that analogy of the grains of sand. It's such a powerful visual representation of how small, consistent efforts can accumulate over time.
It really is. And eventually those grains of sand will tip the scales.
And you'll reach that tipping point where the good habits become easier to maintain and the bad habits start to lose their grip.
It's like that saying, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But in this case, we're talking about the chains of good habits. becoming so strong that they effortlessly pull us in the right direction.
I love that. And you know what else I appreciate about the author's approach?
What's that?
It's that he doesn't shy away from the fact that sometimes our systems are working against us.
Oh, yeah, he talks about that a lot. The idea that our environment and our past behaviors can make it really hard to stick with those positive changes.
It's like we're swimming upstream.
Exactly. And the current is constantly trying to pull us back to our old ways. But here's the good news.
What's that?
We have the power to change the current
How do we do that?
by consciously designing systems that support our desired habits.
Can you give us an example?
Sure, let's say you want to start exercising regularly, but you find that you're constantly hitting the snooze button when your alarm goes off in the morning.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Instead of relying solely on willpower, which can be fickle, you can change your system.
Okay, so how would you change the system in this scenario?
Well, for starters, you could move your alarm clock across the room, so you have to physically get out of bed to turn it off.
That's a classic trick.
It is, and it works because it removes the temptation to just roll over and go back to sleep.
So by changing the environment, you're making it easier to follow through with the desired habit.
Precisely. It's about removing those points of friction and making the path of least resistance lead towards your goals.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about the Sorite's paradox and the
Mhm.
power of small improvements and the importance of designing supportive systems.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground.
But there's one more key concept I want to touch on before we wrap up.
And what's that?
It's the idea that success is not a destination.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
It's a continuous journey.
Tell me more.
Okay, so think about it like this for a second. We often get caught up in chasing these big, lofty goals, like losing a certain amount of weight or getting a promotion or writing a book.
And those goals are important. They give us something to strive for. But the problem is that we often view them as these finish lines. And once we cross them, we think we're done.
Right, it's like we've reached the summit and now we can just coast.
But that's not how it works in reality. True success is about constantly striving to improve.
It's about embracing the process of lifelong learning and growth.
And recognizing that there's always room for improvement.
So instead of focusing solely on achieving specific outcomes, we should shift our attention to building systems that support our ongoing development.
That's a really powerful shift in perspective.
It is, and it's something that the author emphasizes throughout the book. He talks about the importance of falling in love with the process, rather than becoming obsessed with the end result.
And that's so crucial for building lasting habits. Because if you're only motivated by the outcome, what happens when you achieve it?
You lose your motivation.
Exactly. But if you enjoy the process itself, you're more likely to stick with it even when things get tough.
So it's about finding joy in the journey and embracing the ups and downs that come with any pursuit of growth.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so we've explored some really profound concepts today, but I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Remember those seemingly insignificant 1% improvements we talked about earlier?
The grains of sand.
Exactly. What if I told you that the true magic lies in not stopping, in continuing to make those small improvements day after day, week after week, year after year?
That's the real secret, isn't it? It's not about finding that one perfect habit or making a radical transformation overnight. It's about staying committed to the process of continuous improvement.
And trusting that those small changes will eventually lead to remarkable results.
Tiny changes. Remarkable results.
That's the power of atomic habits. So what's one small 1% improvement you can commit to today, knowing that the true magic lies in not stopping?
I'll leave you with that question to ponder.